on a real cold morning here in Idaho, we know that it can get really cold, and whenever we got to go start a piece of equipment, we know that whenever we show up, it's going to be tough to start. So we can start throwing tarps over it, building fires underneath it. You can run generators and try to warm up glow plugs. You can do, there's some things you can do, but most of it is very time consuming. You can throw a fire underneath it and burn something down. None of it's really the answer to do it, to get this piece of equipment started.
You need the ColdFire system. Transfer the warm coolant from one vehicle into the engine block of the extremely cold equipment, allowing for a ColdFire start. This simply solves the problem.
I've just interrupted a heater circuit on both of these vehicles. The thermostat valve goes in the heater circuit, so you must make sure that the heaters in both vehicles are open and turned on. Just simply turn the valve and it will take the coolant from this engine and transfer it to that one. After I get this equipment hooked up, then as a rule, we will bring the motor on this. This is a 350 Chevrolet engine, just a standard motor. We will bring it up to about 2,000 RPMs. It will exchange, it'll make the coolant exchange a lot quicker, and it takes about 6 minutes to bring enough coolant out of this motor into this one to bring this motor up to roughly the same temperature as that one.
So whenever we start this process, we have a valve that's mounted on whatever piece of equipment we take down there. So say we're gonna go get a load of hay and our truck is gonna have a valve mounted on it. Whenever we show up, there's going to be this same valve mounted on that piece of equipment. So by hooking up two hoses and turning the valves, we can then get back in our piece of equipment, our truck, pickup, whatever it needs to be in the comfort of your own pickup that's already warm. You can sit there, rev it up, let the water pump transfer the water to that piece of equipment. It'll circulate it, warm that block up, and then whenever you've reached a certain temperature you want to go with, you can get out, start it, everything will be fine.
We put one of these valves on all of our equipment. The valves are typical. Every valve is exactly like the other one, and every mounting back bracket is exactly like the other one. Every piece of equipment we have has these valves installed on it. The system includes the hoses, the compression valves, everything that it takes to transfer the coolant from that warm motor to this cold motor. In typical conditions, we can bring this cold motor from, let's say 0, we'll bring it up to 30 or 40 degrees, and we can do that in about 6 to 10 minutes. If it's colder than that, it might take another minute or two. And it's all based on the exchange rate of the coolant from a 350 Chevy pickup, for instance, or a diesel pickup, or whatever you have. We're going to a large volume of coolant by starting a truck. If we get to eastern Idaho, we're driving that truck. That system has that cooling system is already warm. So we're going to a telehandler. The telehandler, for instance, the cooling system on it's a fairly small motor with a fairly small cooling capacity or cooling capacity. We will warm that engine up in 5 to 10 minutes. A backhoe is the same thing. And we can warm them up quickly off of the truck, go to work, get our load put on, and come back to southern Idaho.
It's whenever you go to start it that the oil is going to be flash, so to speak. Whenever oil is really cold, it's just like a sludge that sits on the bottom of the motor. So whenever these guys, use ether, you're taking that sludge oil and trying to get it filtered up through the engines, into the turbos, all that kind of stuff. It's hard on them. Turbo diesels are, whenever you take an extreme cold and hit it with an extreme hot, whenever that diesel fires and that turbo starts to spin, it's hard on seals. It can take out turbos. So you can, whenever you do this system, it safely brings everything up to temperature. So whenever you start it, the oil can immediately start going through it. Diesel fuel actually fires better under heat. So on, you know, these cold temperatures, it's hard to get them to start because that diesel fuel is so cold, everything is so cold. So it's way better on the outfit you're trying to start.
For more information on the ColdFire system, go to cold-fireinc.com.